You want to know what the absolute most frustrating feeling or thing in trading is? It's not losing, it's not being wrong, it's not even blowing a trade at the end of the day. It's looking back and realizing you did the exact thing that you told yourself not to do. I said I wouldn't chase back in the day, and then I chase, right? I said I'd wait for confirmation, and then I'd just jump in early. I said I was done after 2 trades, and then I take 6. It's insanity. And now you're sitting there, right after all of that, staring at the screen, not confused, just freaking disgusted with yourself. Because look, at the end of the day, it's not a knowledge problem. We know better. All the trading psychology videos, the mental videos, they all say the same thing. It's not like it's unique or novel knowledge. It's never a knowledge problem. I knew better. That's what makes it sting the worst at the end of the day. And I know this because I've lived it. There were days where I could explain the setup perfectly. And you know what? I was right. Map, level map, plan clear. I knew exactly what I wanted to see from the market. And then the market opened and just everything changes, right? Pressure hits. Price started to suddenly move, and suddenly I turn into a completely different person at the end of the day. That's the part that's not talked about enough, is we know better. And most traders, and I think myself included, the old me at least, and it still creeps up from time to time, is we're not losing because we don't know enough. We know. We're losing because in the moment, we just can't control ourselves. It's our caveman monkey brain. And until you let that truth out, nothing's gonna change. And we all know how this plays out. It's not like this, what I'm saying right now should come as a surprise to nobody who's been trading for 6 months, a year, before the market opens or the bell rings. You're locked in, right? You've got your levels planned. You've drank your coffee. For me, I pop my Zyn. Charts are clean. The levels are marked. I know my plan like the back of my hand. Like I've been doing it for years. If price does this, then I'm looking to do this. If it doesn't, I'm not touching it. Everything just makes sense. You sound disciplined, at least in your head. You feel it even sometimes, right? Then what happens? The market opens, price starts moving, it starts wiggling, and suddenly all that clarity that you had pre-market, gone. Now you're watching it run without you, or you're just watching numbers tick on a screen and you're thinking, damn, I'm about to miss this. Now your rules start just kind of bending just a little bit, right? It's close to my level. This kind of looks like my setup. Well, this wasn't part of my plan, but it's doing this now. And I'm just thinking back to me, before I even realized it, I'm not you're in a trade that you didn't plan. Then it pulls back. And instead of cutting it like I said I would, what do? I double down, I move my stop, I add to the position because I don't want to be wrong. Right? So I hold. And now it's no longer just a trade. It's my identity. It's my ego wrapped up into a trade. It's my ego playing out as P&L on my screen at the end of the day. Now it's, I can't be wrong on this. Right? And at the end of the day, I already know I am wrong. I know what I'm doing in the moment. It's not a surprise. I know exactly what I'm doing before I do it. The crazy part is I'm conscious of it. I know not to do this, and if I keep doing it, I'm never going to be the trader I want to be. But here's the crazy part. I knew better. So why did I still do it? Why? Not once, not twice, but for years, over and over and over again. That's the real problem. It's not the strategy. Now look, self-admittedly, yeah, sometimes it's a strategy. Sometimes people are looking at too much. I get it, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't my knowledge. I knew better. It's the fact that in that moment, what actually matters, right, is I'm not doing what I already understand. I'm not. I'm doing the opposite of what I should be doing. I'm doing the opposite of what I know, the exact opposite. I keep sticking my finger in that light socket, even though it shocks me every single time. And there was a shift, and it wasn't, look, part of the shift, yes, it was part strategy, but it was mostly behavior and decision-making. But the shift in my strategy was to help with the decision-making process. It wasn't a new setup. It wasn't some indicators. It wasn't some breakthrough strategy. It wasn't orb. It was just realizing that I needed to grow the F up. That's it. Because I kept on saying the same things. I know what I'm doing. I know I shouldn't have done that. I just need to be more disciplined, right? Tomorrow I'll be better. We hear all that. We hear all that. It was me for the longest time. And then what did I do? I'd come back the next day and I would do the exact same thing over again. At some point, At some point, you just have to stop and you have to have that. I call them like the come to Jesus speeches. Maybe you've heard that saying before, but I had to really look myself in the mirror. I had to be real honest with myself. It's one thing to know what to do, and I knew what to do for the longest time, but it's a completely thing to actually do it. And this is what separates hobbyists, people who fail, people who waste time, people who chase indicators, people who chase strategies, from the people who never make it. They never make that jump. They don't actually do it. They sit there, right? They nod along. Oh, yep, I've heard this before. They watch the videos, they understand, and then they go right back to doing things how they've always done it. That just blows themselves up over and over and over again. And that's when it hit me, right? If I don't actually internalize this, if I don't actually know who I am, come to terms with who I am in the market, outside of the market, in life, and really focus on me, then I'm going to fail. Not maybe, not if the market is tough, I will fail. It's not the market. It's not the market, because this has nothing to do with the market at the end of the day. The market's the market. It doesn't give a crap about me, right? It's not out there to get me, contrary to popular belief. And when ICT will tell you about, stop loss hunting, that ain't how that works, man. It's not the reason that I'm messing up. It's me. It's my decisions under pressure. It's my lack of control. It's my need to be right. It's my impatience at the end of the day. That's the problem. And that's the hardest thing to accept. Everything else, well, it's the strategy. Well, the markets aren't great. That's all cope. That's all cope at the end of the day. And I've coped for the longest time. Trust me, I coped. I'm the king coper. I promise you, no one's coped harder than me in these markets. Because once you realize it's you, there's nothing else left to hide behind. You can't blame conditions. You can't blame volatility. You can't blame the setup. You can't blame somebody else. If I want to become a trader, a real trader, someone who can quit his 9 to 5 and do this full time, that's on me. It ain't on the market. It ain't on anybody else. It ain't on some YouTuber. It's on me. And that's anything in life. And once I actually internalized that and accepted it, boy, everything changed. And I don't mean just internalizing and accepting it by like nodding along. It was about executing what I already knew at the end of the day. And boy, did I already know it, whether I felt like it or not. And this loop that it creates where, how many more videos do I need to watch before I get it? Like, enough. It's a vicious loop. It's just the loop that I just explained, where it's like, okay, I'm going to be disciplined tomorrow. I'm going to follow my plan tomorrow. And then it's just the same vicious loop over and over again. And I'm telling you this because I've lived it. You mess up a trade and right after you can see everything clearly, right? Yeah, I chased it. Yeah, I didn't wait. And yeah, that wasn't my setup. But the crazy part is, in the moment, as you're pushing that button, before you push that button, you shouldn't, but you still do it. I still did it, right? In that moment, especially after the fact, right? When you're out of the trade and you can breathe a little bit and it didn't, you lost money, but it even sometimes feels good to just be out of that trade, right? In that moment, you can sound like a professional, right? Then you tell yourself, all right, tomorrow's different, right? You close down the day, you reset mentally, you go touch grass for a little bit, maybe feel a little bit better about it. And then tomorrow comes and what do? The exact same thing. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Same mistake, same setup you shouldn't be touching, right? Same impulsive, monkey brain, caveman shit behavior. Just a different candle, just a different day, maybe a different chart, maybe with a different strategy this time, right? That's the loop. And that's what makes this dangerous. So I need you to understand this, because what you're doing is you're constantly reinforcing bad behaviors. And what makes it really dangerous is it can feel like you're improving, right? Because you can explain the mistake now. Maybe you even journaled it, right? But explaining it is not the same as fixing it. It's not the same as acting on it. You're not refining anything. You're just more aware and you're still doing the same dumb shit. That's exactly how people stay stuck for years and years and years. And I've seen it over and over and over again. Not because you don't know what to do and you're clueless or you're stupid, because you're just trapped in this vicious bad habit cycle of awareness, repeat, Well, I guess maybe reset could be in there. Awareness, reset, repeat, awareness, reset, repeat. But there's no real change. There's no real adjustment. There's an illusion of progress at the end of the day where it can feel like maybe I'm a little bit better today because I learned something from that loss yesterday, but then the next day you go and you do the exact same thing. But the longer you stay in this loop, the more dangerous it gets, because now you start telling yourself, I'm close. I almost have this, man. I almost figured it out. Just a couple more trades. New plan tomorrow. Let me reset. But nothing in your behavior actually changes. Your decision-making process doesn't actually change, right? If your behavior doesn't change, then neither will your results at the end of the ever. And look, right now you're probably thinking to yourself, listen, bro, I've heard this before. I know it's on me. I know I'm messing up, but what the hell do I actually do? Because you've heard this before, right? Discipline, patience, control yourself. Cool. This doesn't help you at 9:47 a.m. when the market's firing off and a button press can have you in and out of the market and can get that adrenaline and can get that dopamine flowing, right? So let's simplify this. There are two types of people in the world. Two types of people in the world and in this game. There's people who do and people who don't. There are people who watch this right now who are going to just nod their head and say, yep, that's facts. And then tomorrow go right back to the same bullshit habits that they've been doing their entire trading and really their whole life at the end of the day. Same trades, same mistakes, same excuses. You're not going to make it. Not because you're not smart, right? But you're not going to make it because you don't change, right? You're comfortable where you're at right now. And then there's a much smaller group of people that actually do something with this. They don't just understand it. They apply it. They implement it. They internalize it. They take a hard look at themselves in the mirror, brothers and sisters. This is how I act in the market, and this is what I need to fix. This is how I act in life. This is where I'm impulsive. This is what I do in life, and I'm bringing that into the markets. Not what somebody else is doing, right? Not what looks cool on Twitter. So if you're serious, if you're dead ass serious at the end of the day, here's what you actually do. And look, this isn't about theory or this isn't supposed to be motivational, just simple, real changes, low hanging fruit stuff, right? That can blossom right into a giant tree. Slow yourself down. Boom. Number one. I know, dude, it sounds so simple. It is simple. Most of your bad trades happen fast. You see something, you feel something, you click. There's no gap. There's no control. You need to force a gap. Think about it. When I think about me and how I overcame a lot of this stuff, I spent a year and a half of just bad decisions to where they became like riding a bike. My brain wouldn't even think. I would just react like riding a bike, right? You'd never forget how to ride a bike or your habits. Why smoking is so hard. It's not necessarily a nicotine addiction. It is, but there's also that kind of oral fixation, right? Like you just have a habit of doing this, man. You have a habit of pushing buttons. You need to force a gap between the space where your muscle memory takes over and your brain lags. You need to give yourself space to allow your brain to catch up to muscle memory. You've got a bunch of bad habits. You've been doing this and you've been reinforcing those bad habits for years. Now those bad habits are muscle memory. I don't care if it's 5 seconds. I don't care if it's 10 seconds. You just need to pause before every single entry to give your brain a chance to catch up. And then you need to ask yourself one question. Is this my plan? Not does this look good? No, that's the wrong question to ask. Not what if this runs? Your plan. And if that answer is a clear and clean yes, if it's not part of your plan, you don't take it. No debate, right? Allow your brain to catch up. Because look, it makes sense what I'm saying, right? A bunch of bad habits that have been reinforced and are now muscle memory. Muscle memory means I act. Someone just threw a ball out of the side of, right now, if someone threw a ball at my face, my hand would go up and I would try to catch it before my brain could even think about it, right? Instincts. Don't take it if it doesn't plan up. This one little tiny change, man, it can eliminate I promise you, half of your bad trades immediately. Put a sticky note on your monitor, put it on your desk, pause, count to 5 and do it out loud. Say it. Don't debate it in your head, because in our heads is where we get lost. Put it out into the world. Tell your dog, right? Text a friend. Hey man, I'm about to take a bad trade. It's not part of my plan. Think about how stupid that sounds. It can eliminate, I promise you, it can eliminate half of your bad trades immediately. Now the second, and this is a big one, this was a real tough one for me. We got to stop trading what we feel or what we hope. I think this is where I lost a lot, right? I'm not trading my plan. I'm just trading emotions, right? If you're making decisions in the moment after, you know, the bell rings and your session starting and price is moving, you've already lost control. Your thinking should be done before the market opens, right? So this is about creating better decision-making processes. My decisions are already made pre-market. Here's where I'm looking to go long. Here's where I'm looking to go short. If this happens, then I'm going to do that. Whatever this and that is. Remember, this isn't about entry model or strategy right now. But I come up with my ideas. I make my decisions before the market opens, so I don't have to make the decisions as the market is ticking and emotions are high and adrenaline's running and dopamine's tripping, right? Levels mapped, scenarios planned, risk defined. I even got my orders plugged in. I'm a broker. That's it. Like, during the session, the decision-making process, it becomes simple. Did the market confirm my ideas? Yes or no? That's it. How simple is that? Think about like how stupid it sounds. Like it even sounds stupid to say out loud, right? And if it didn't, you just sit there. That's the job. That's the job. Now, another one, the next one, the third one is this. I think a lot of people are lying to themselves in their journals. And I actually did a whole video about this. I think a lot of people lie to themselves about why they took the trade, why they got out of the trade, why they managed the trade, how they did. Track your behavior as honestly as you track your money. And again, I know all this from experience. Like I was super obsessed with win rate and P&L and dollars. That's not your problem. So you can have a green day with terrible behavior, right? And a red day with perfect execution. You can. But what you need to track is, number one, did I follow my plan? Right? Did I chase? Did I take something I shouldn't have? Because behavioral patterns don't lie at the end of the day. If you keep making the same mistake, that's the leak. It's not your strategy. You want to look, I'm going to show you my trading journal. At the end of the day, I'm tracking system adherence, deviations, major, minor. What was the deviation? How was my entry and exit emotions? And then I'm writing out notes. Where did I mess up? How can I get better? And yes, I track P&L, I track the dollars, I track everything, but I also track my behavior, my emotions. Pre-trade, into trade. Was I tired? Was I anxious? Was I calm? Was I uncertain? There's some that were, I was just tired, man. That's it, right? You need to, number one, not lie to yourself. It wasn't a level and I lost, right? It wasn't a level I had pre-market. I had my plan. I didn't follow my plan and I lost. The leak is usually behavior. It's usually not technical. It's usually not fundamentals. Right? So track your behaviors just as much as you track everything else. Spot the patterns in your behavior so you can fix them. And number four, look, add consequences. Right now, nothing happens. What happens to you when you mess up? You lose money, right? You break a rule and then you just keep trading like nothing happens. So obviously the money is not as big of a consequence. Obviously it doesn't matter because you're already losing money. So what do? Right? And I think this is why it never changes. You need consequences. And I mean real ones, like whatever it is. Like I'm just gonna give you some examples. You break a rule, you're done for the day. That's one of mine. There's no more one more trade. If I break my rule, I'm done. No more, I'm gonna make it back, right? Just done. That's how you train discipline. Not by hoping you're gonna be better next time, by recognizing it in the moment. So whatever consequences you need for you, make them real, make them hurt. Because guess what? Money is not working as a consequence because I was still doing the same thing over and over and over again. And number five, this is the biggest one, man. The market does not pay you to be active. Most of you are trading way too much because you think more trades equals more opportunity, but guess what? It doesn't. It actually, your journal probably even backs me up here. It's the opposite. More trades equal more chances to mess up. At the end of the day, you don't need 10 trades. You need 1 or 2 clean trades. I'm averaging right now, since February, I'm averaging 3.4 trades per week. And I'm making a shitload of money. I ain't all winners. right? But my math is right. My risk is right. I'm filtering hard and heavy because I know, and I've bought in and I've internalized that less is more. I don't need more trades. I need better trades. That's it. Everything else, it's just noise. And I know that. It's just noise convincing yourself that, hey, this is opportunity. I need to make money. I need edge. I need to be active. But that's the trap that our brain plays on. That's like that little dopamine demon in our brain saying, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. And that this kind of leads us into the next one, which is, man, you got to be comfortable being bored. This is the part nobody wants to hear. Good trading is boring. And I'm going to read you something. So we have a trade recap channel in the Discord. And I'm just going to share this real quick here. If I can make my screen not all messed up. There you go. So I said this yesterday. Boom. I was looking for a sweep of the daily London weekly high. This was on ESNQ. Talked myself out of it when I saw sells being absorbed like crazy at that level, which told me longs were loading up there. And boy, was I happy that I had flow to show me to not take the trade because I would have been wrecked. I didn't take a trade today. This is the important part. I did not trade today. I did not have confirmation. I passed. Today was a win. I did nothing. I made no money and it was a win. Get comfortable doing that and you will go the distance. Boom. That's trader gangster shit right there. Get comfortable doing nothing and you'll go the distance. Good trading is boring. Waiting, it's freaking boring. Sitting there doing nothing, boring. But if you need action, if you need stimulation, guess what? You're going to sabotage yourself every single time. That's all we're doing is just self-sabotaging, right? But part of being a consistent trader, part of becoming consistent is learning how to sit there and just do nothing and accept being bored until it's time to strike. Until it's time to strike. None of this is complicated. That's the truth, right? None of this is complicated. It's simple, but it's not easy. There's a difference between simple and not easy because this isn't about learning something new. It's about actually doing what you already know consistently when it matters over and over and over again. Look, at the end of the day, it's simple. If your behavior doesn't change, you're never going to quit your 9-to-5. You're not going to make a shitload of money. You're not going to get that Lamborghini that you want. You're not going to achieve all your goals. And that's fine. Not everyone needs to be a trader, right? So hey, most people are fine with a life of mediocrity, right? But if your behavior doesn't change, then your results aren't going to change either. You can watch 100 more videos. You can read 100 more books. You can learn 10 more strategies. If you keep showing up the same way and nothing changes, nothing's going to change. So the question isn't, do you understand this? Does this make sense? It's, are you going to actually do something about it? Are you going to do something with it? And if you are, come hang out, man. I'd love to have you. Free courses, real systems, a community of traders that are actually putting in reps, getting better together every single day. No bullshit. TacticalTraders.com. All links are in bio. Look, internalize this. At the end of the day, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same result. It's your call. There's 2 paths you can take right now. Go ahead that conversation with yourself in the mirror. Let me know how it goes.